Hey, Georgia.
Hello, Catalin.
Cool. So,
Can you hear me? All okay?
yeah, all good, all good. Thanks for
Great.
joining us. Sorry to keep you waiting. We have a slight delay here on the stream. So today, the topic today is for us is getting investment as an indie studio, and we invited you because you have significant experience in this uh, in this area. So you have had two companies in games. Both of those have received investment of some kind. So maybe let's start with a very brief introduction. Tell us a little bit about the companies that you work with. So your no, short description of your video games history, and then we can get in more detail.
So I started the first gaming company in 2006. It is called the Republic. It was and still is. A, in fact, it was built as a geopolitical and macroeconomical simulation, and then it developed into a game. As a company, we got investments. I think all the investments were from outside of Romania. And I left the company in 2012. When in a moment when the company was very successful and almost 50 people employed there. So it was financially successful company. Then I started a new company called Greenhouse Games from the start, from zero. After managing 50 people, then went coding and all the things needed in a startup. When we were two, three people. And we got investments also in the Greenhorse Games, and the company was um, earlier this year, at the beginning of this year, it was the majority shares, the majority part of the shares was acquired by Miniclip. So we are part of Mini in what we can call a successful acquisition.
So it sounds like you chose entrepreneurship, in the mid 2000s. There was hardly any entrepreneurship in games back then. So you really, chose the hard path, I would say, rather than going to the big companies, which were all, so Ubisoft, Gameloft, and EA were all present in the industry at that point. Why did you choose entrepreneurship? I mean, what made you go for that?
It wasn't a conscious decision. Like I never thought that I want to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to build great things, and in order to do that, you need to either be capable to join a good team or get partners around you. And at that point, if we're talking about 2005, 2006, I wasn't able to do any of that. So I simply chose to start working by myself. And little by little, in time, there more people showed up and joined me. And of course, some of them it wasn't a fit. With others, it was a fit. We shared the same values, and we built great teams together. So again, it wasn't the goal. It wasn't to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The goal was to
It
do
just
something
happened, basically.
amazing. Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know about alternate history, but I'm pretty sure that in those companies you can do amazing things too.
So, okay, let's come back to the main topic, which is investment. So, you know, between those two companies, you've been part of multiple investment rounds, not even taking into account the recent acquisition. How did you approach those funding rounds, and you know, what was the strategy? Why did you choose to go each time for a funding round, and you know, what was the strategy behind it? Hey, I think we lost you
Catalin,
for a
I've lost
second.
you a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Did you hear the question?
Why did you choose to go? And this is where we stop.
No, sorry. I was asking about the different investment rounds that you had during those with those two companies. What was the strategy behind each round? Why did you choose to finance, and why did you choose to finance the way that you did?
Well, it was, first of all, there are two very different stories because the first one was in 2006, the moment when investment options were like very rare, and it meant like you get a few tens of thousands of euro and you give majority shareholding of the company, so the investor gets most of the shares. So that was the start of eRepublic. And what happened furthermore is that the investor that
Georgia?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You just
Okay, so uh, probably it's on my side. I have to move to the telephone to the phone mobile connection.
no problem.
Okay, so can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay. So what I was saying is that it's the investor, the first investor was involved a lot in helping us, in helping getting the next rounds. And basically that was the story for the first for eRepublic.
Georgia, about those different funding rounds that you did, what was the process of preparation? What did you do to prepare as a company for those investments?
Well, first of all, you need to ask yourself a very tough question: if getting an investment is it right for you? Because it's not only about the fact that somebody will give you money and you in order to fund your dream. It's about extra responsibility. It changes your business, and it changes your business not only in the terms that you have to be more serious about all the financial stuff, all the reporting, all those marginal extra things that you have to do, but also there's extra responsibility because somebody is investing, is trusting you, puts money, invests money, so that the goal is to make more money. And this is something that it needs to be clear for you from day one. Because there's one thing to have a small company that you coordinate and there's no extra responsibility. And there's another thing when an investment fund decides to put his money there, and because they expect to in a few years to increase their to make profit out of this. So that's the first thing that is very important to be clear for you. And then, of course, it's not only about money. There's also about trust. So very important is that you need to build that trust. You need to start that process of meeting people and meeting investors and and talking with them and get to know each other before many months before you actually need the money. So if you need the money at some point, you have to start the process at least nine months before.
So
So
it's
you
true,
need,
you know, people keep saying this, that you need to raise money when you don't need it. Do you agree with
yeah,
that?
yeah. You need to you need to build options as soon as possible. So the moment when you're gonna need those money, those options are already created. You don't start building relationships in a few weeks.
And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
One extra thing is it's important that while you build out those you created out those contacts, it's important to update those investors on a monthly basis before, like, you I don't know, meet 10 20 people, or virtually or in real life 10 20 potential investors. And what we were doing, we were updating them on a monthly basis on the process of how we are developing the company.
Interesting. So in this preparation and in the process of getting investment, what are some pitfalls to avoid? What are some, you know, common traps for any startup, not just necessarily games?
It's very important to be honest. Don't hide the relationship with by hiding things. Then you start with the wrong foot. Um, some for example, one thing that happened in our case is not very well known. After we got the investment from Malin, our plan was to get two equal investments, one from Malin Ștefănescu as an angel round for Green Horse Games, and the second, and in parallel, to get an investment fund from Bulgaria. And we are very advanced with them. Just that in the following 2 months after we signed the deal with Malin, everything was prepared to get to have signed also with to have the signature also and the money from the second investor, the Bulgarian fund. We realized that the game that we are building is not it doesn't have the potential that we're expecting. And it was a tough decision because if we simply didn't say anything to the new investor, we would have get the money and everything would have been great on our side. But on the other hand, we would have started with the left foot. We would start with a big problem in trust with this new partner. So what we decided was to be open, was to inform them. Normally, they decided not to advance, and it was tougher, but I didn't regret at all. I never regretted this decision. We met years later with them. They regretted the decision of not investing because it would have been an amazing, profitable investment, but with the info that they had at that point, it was a normal decision.
But I'm sure they appreciated and respected you being open with them about that, because, you know, they were able to take an informed decision.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Another very important thing is to go unprepared to an investor. It's very easy to go there and said and ask for money, like, hey, I have this great idea, but it's very important to for the investor to see that you invested something invested your time in what you're in this idea that you're selling. um, like start something, do an MVP, create an MVP, create a pitch deck. It's very easy to create a pitch deck. It won't be the perfect pitch deck, and the perfect pitch deck doesn't exist. Just to explain, pitch deck, it's a 10, 12 pages presentation of your business, team, and product. To simplify it, create a basic business plan. It won't be valid. It won't, like, the moment when that business plan will be implemented, you realize that that is not that it's very far from reality. But creating that business plan, it's important. And uh, uh, serious investors do understand that a business plan for a startup will mostly fail. It will not happen. The reality will will be very different, but they will still require to see that you have a plan, that if you foresee, you have put the effort in foreseeing the future.
And to add to that, I think it's important to mention here that's a business plan for the company, not necessarily for the one specific game that you may have going on uh, at that time, right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of independent developers, they tend to approach funding from a, thinking of the publishers, and they are very game focused and having the game have these results and be profitable and so on. Whereas getting equity investment is completely different, and you have to keep the whole company in mind. You have maybe there are more products that are in development, so it's just a different mindset.
yeah, yeah. Another thing important is to avoid getting too much money. It sounds funny, but I've met cases of entrepreneurs they made an extra round. In our case, we with both companies we raised close to 4 million euro in total, um, and I can say that at Greenhorse Games we did raise the right amount of money. Why? Because every extra investment round, it comes with the pressure of it comes with a new expectation regarding where the company will grow, and it's very important for you to understand if what is the potential of the company, because if it doesn't have the potential, that new potential, then you should rather not get that new round. So I don't know, it sounds like a first world problem, but
Yeah,
it is. I met cases.
I guess it depends also where you get the investment. And on this topic, with the state of the capital market in Romania today, let's say you're an independent developer looking to get investment for their company. Do you look at Romania? Do you look at international funds that are specialized in games? What is the what would you recommend? I mean, and is Romania even an option right now for video games? Because startup ecosystem is starting to grow, and it's very encouraging. There are a lot of things happening. Events and organizations like How to Web are doing some great things, but games are more maybe a little bit more specific, and it's not as developed as the general startup ecosystem. So what are your thoughts on this?
I recommend looking everywhere you're able to look for investment. You can find if you're able to meet and connect with great investors from Western Europe or US, for sure, do that. Create options so that later you have options where you can choose. If your options are limited to Romania, and even if not, is great to meet people that have experience, at least with investment. It would be great also to have experience with gaming, but at least the investors that we had at Green Horse Games, I can recommend them, and they're all from Romania. So we had a good experience with them. So create options so that you can be picky later.
Yeah, that's great advice, actually. So and speaking of Romanian capital market, and even you've done angel investment, you've been through angel investment, you got money from funds, and you got acquired. So the one thing that you did not do yet, I guess, is go public with a company. Was that ever an option for a Green Horse? Maybe is that something that you considered?
To be honest, we did. We have been approached last year on this subject, but we consider that it is too early and for us, and we said that it was a subject that I didn't understand so well, and I wanted to keep my focus on developing Green Horse games. In our case, Green Horse Games had a very clear trajectory for the following years. We didn't have any plans of making an exit, and we enjoyed, and we're still enjoying what we're doing. So I had that perception that doing an IPO would move the focus from what I love doing, which is building games. So that was the first reaction, but again, it wasn't very. I didn't get to analyze so too much because then we met the guys from Miniclip, and it was.
Got it. Okay, so then what is next for Green Horse Games and for you after in a post-acquisition life?
As I was saying earlier, we did and we do have a long-term plan. Our games, our main game, Football Rivals, is very successful, and we're planning to develop it furthermore, and we're planning to build new games. We increased our team when we're constantly increasing our team, and also I think this is the most challenging part with increasing the team, because a challenge that we have is that most of the Romanian industry is focused on building games for other companies. So, and in order to do that, you build a certain type of experience. While building your games, putting them in front of your clients, your players, it forces you to adapt the way that you develop games. There's a different type of experience. So this is pretty challenging for us, but um, we're getting there. We're increasing the team. We're investing in our people. I think that was the most successful. That was the best strategy the most successful strategy for us was investing in our people. I don't know if I answered your question. I just
you
went
did,
with
and
deep.
I saw the pictures you post with your team, with the team buildings that you do with the entire team.
And I miss those so much.
That's really something very cool, and not many companies are doing that. But congratulations to you for really making an effort to make that happen. It's not easy. So if you for anyone who hasn't seen this, but Green Horse Games has done a few at least team building events where the entire company goes to places like Egypt and just have a good time. So Georgia, before we go to questions from the audience, any advice, any outstanding advice for indies looking for investment? If you have to pick like one piece of advice, what would that be?
Yeah, create options and build relationship because getting investment is not a one night stand. Is not you don't just get the money and think you buy. Is you get a partner, a long-term partner that will be there with you. Should be there with you when things are going well and especially when things are going south.
Thank you. And it looks like we have one question. It says, so your recent game was quite successful. So why did you decide to go for an exit? To sell the company? So it was an original IP that created a lot of attention. What was the main reason for choosing to go with an acquisition?
This is a very good question because if you would have asked me 1 year ago, I would say we don't have plans we don't plan to sell the company. We're happy with it, and we do have a great team, a great plan, and financially we're very, very okay. So why? Well, first of all, it wasn't an exit. Both me and Alex Troye, my partner, are still shareholders of the company, in the company. I'm still the CEO of the company, and we still have an independent decision policy in Green Horse Games. What changed is the fact that now we get the support and the know-how of hundreds of specialists from Miniclip. So we realized that we can reach the place that we wanted to reach, but faster, and we can reach even further with Miniclip's help. And now, almost 1 year since we signed this deal, I think it proved right. So we're still there. We're still looking forward long term for being part of Green Horse Games.
That's great. George, thanks a lot for your time, and congratulations for everything that you've been doing in the games industry in Romania, and hope we have more great stories from you and Green Horse Games.
One last thing, Catalin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not. I decided right now, as I'm still part of Green Horse Games, now to make direct investments in not to be an investor. I can help with recommending people the recommended investors. So I don't know if somebody can drop me an email. I can help with that.
Wow, that's amazing. So developers listening, please reach out to George, and he can recommend some investors from his experience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. So that concludes this very interesting discussion. Next up is a topic powered by Amber. So it's another fireside chat presented by someone from Amber.